for you? Have you remembered yet?
I did, but entirely too late to make dinner.
Hello.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. That's all good, all good. How are you?
Well, it's Wednesday. This is a good thing.
Probably, yeah.
Well, we shall hope.
While we wait for everyone to pop in, I am going to step away and make dinner while I have a few moments.
You have a few moments? I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna go step away and make dinner. I'll be in the background hiding.
Okay. Have fun with it.
Well, we are here. It is Wednesday. This is SoupCity Sends Rusted Souls, and it's our second of our three prequel. So the question is, do we have any questions? Have any suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we need to round up?
Yeah, not on my end.
Very, very, very cool. So,
Well, I do have questions story-wise, but they have to be explored during the setting. I don't expect you to give me all the ins and outs of the story at the moment.
oh no ins and out, but definitely a catch up of sorts. We are in fact picking up 3 days later. There was a lot of things that happened, and some of which the players are completely aware of. Some of which the characters are aware of. The question is, between those two extremes, which of those are you aware of?
Well, I'm mostly focused on the fact that the Alicent car got keyed and the finger broken and stuff. It, it was unpleasant, but overall, I'm very satisfied with the fact that Jacob was able to investigate the brew that he got, this liquid, and the findings are quite interesting.
It sounds like a plan. Well, that being the case, just so that we are aware and we have a full catch up, over the past few days, several individuals have become involved in a series of intertwining events. Jacob discovers that the brew he received is laced with a powerful kindred blood, which of course worries him, and Anon finds out that she was drugged with a potent alchemical substance and learns that others were targeted along with her. Rumors spread about the return of Gid to Chicago and the appearance of known troublemakers that operated in Gary during the time of Modius and Juggler. Anand also realizes that one of her drives, one of the secreted caches of her studies, is missing, and she finds a motel key card in her possession. Marie, hoping to learn more about the Kindred Society, tries to reach out, spend time with Sarah, but Sarah's avoiding her. Non-existent, no return calls, no return visits, none of the usual places where she associates. Tamada, searching for information on a mysterious drug called Ash, fails to make any real progress. However, he does attract the attention of several underworld dealers and those involved in the black market of entertainment in Gary. Jacob, meanwhile, offers to help Sophia track the Nazi vampires. Also, while he completely means he is there to assist and was there to assist, also was hoping to gain access to some of those encrypted journals. But because of the surfeit of business and the constant need of her being on the floor, him being on the floor with her, he didn't get a chance to obtain or make away with any of those. Marie, desperate to hello. Marie, desperate to feed, she ended up drinking from the girlfriend of an undercover police officer on the campus. It's a risky move given the officer's high level of connections throughout Gary, and we're waiting for the other shoe to drop in that regard. Tamada, however, uncovered that Zimri had ties to religious leaders across the state and hailed from Indianapolis. Between those two things, it is clear that Zimri has considerable mortal and potentially kindred political influence. Later on, along that third day that we glossed over since our last appearance, Jacob and Allison were preparing to obtain a few ingredients and chemicals necessary to create Molotov cocktails. But they ended up in a fight with a group of school jocks, which unfortunately did lead to Allison's injury and their night being cut short. Anon, looking for exploitable individuals throughout Gary, finds that a mortal janitorial members, just a member that hangs out on campus, pregnant girlfriend, had been frequenting Marie's clinic. Marie also finds that the police presence increases on the campus, including publicly visible uniformed officers as well as undercover plainclothes officers. What she can piece together is that they are connected to the investigation into the arson incident last year. Mata, delving as he was into the underworld entertainment of Gary, discovers the relationship between Rita and Sophia. And while there's no definitive proof or support, he suspects that there is a hidden power dynamic operating between the two. Which brings us up to now. 3 days have passed. The coterie is once more spending time with each other, at least to start. The call has gone out. You've all had the opportunity of delving, digging, searching, finding various aspects over the last 3 days. Where is everyone gathering? And how did everyone get there? We'll start in alphabetical order and move from there. Everybody ready?
I am.
Excellent. So once for the money, two for the show, three times for the glory. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, SoupCity Sin, Rusted Souls. Tonight's episode entitled The Exhalation of Winter's Breath. And Anand, where are we? And how did Anand get there while she's waiting for the others, or the others have already arrived?
Anand would have set the meeting at the Chantry house that they're trying to rebuild, because they might as well get started with that whole situation. She has been using public transport for most of the ways getting to places, especially with it being a college campus. That makes it easy um, for her. So it was definitely public transport, and she's at the hidden chantry on the campus. Probably like in one of the main library type areas.
Excellent, excellent. And that brings us to Jacob. How did you arrive? How were you already there waiting on Anand's arrival? Or are you late to arrive? Are you aiming to be fashionably late?
Yeah. No, I think I would have tried to be punctual at the arrival, but because I do not have any car, that means that I would have had to walk there, unless I had anyone to drive with. Not really sure what Sarah's doing, so I guess we didn't see each other in the beginning of the night, so I had to walk there. But I would obviously try to be punctual and arrive on time.
This is goodness. And Marie.
Marie would likely arrive slightly early, if that's okay. She just gets impatient waiting around getting ready and instead just turns up early and waits outside for a bit.
Tamara. He has in fact stepped away, so we will proceed right along and assume that he is absently present, settling into the
Mata
Tremere
would have been
space.
there early, and he would have drove.
Early is a good thing. So, as he was hoping to be there early, the Indiana University Northwest Anderson campus is there at 3400 and Broadway. It's the Broadway and 35th, between Jefferson and Broadway, and between 35th and 33rd, which doesn't seem like that huge amount of a space, save the entirety of the parkway from Jefferson all the way over to Harrison Boulevard along 35th is nominally part of the campus. So too is the space of land, the unofficial though it is, because it is part of the Little Calumet River Prairie wetlands, part of the forest preserve, is considered part of the college campus. So while in actual matter of fact, as far as the deed to the campus goes, it is only from 35th and Broadway to 33rd and Jefferson, even as it extends all the way to the Little Calumet River. There is just under a square 4.5 miles of space that occupies the college campus. It's fairly easy enough to get to, especially, Broadway is a major thoroughfare. But the campus itself is broken up into several smaller tracts of space. And where the Chantry actually is off the roundabout from 35th Avenue. They're at the primary professional building on campus. The parking spaces are considerably farther away because the campus occupies both sides of 35th Avenue, both sides of Broadway. It requires some walking across the campus, and there's a huge amount of just green, empty space bordering all of the buildings. It's the sort of place where horror movies would have a field day being filmed. It's the sort of space where there's enough of the outdoors around you that you never feel that absence during the winter. You never feel like you're removed from society, even as there are several winding and zigging paths throughout the campus. The Tremere have operated inside of that building since the founding of this campus, all of those many, many long years ago. Is there anything that Tamada would have been doing to prepare the space? Because it's still held by the Tremere in perpetuity amidst the school's charter. Is there anything that he would have been doing to prepare the space for the others as they arrive?
He'd be going over his notes for the information that he plans to deliver. Also, he'd be looking around the area to see, like, what's the last time he's been here? Has anyone disturbed the wards, or
What words?
are the wards are actually
What
active?
what words? Fire cleanses. The destruction of the Chantry was an inside job. Calabalarshi and his childers, before their death and their passing, did a thorough job of excoriating every protection the Chantry had. After all, what would you expect from a Tremere who was assassinating other Tremere? The fire that was set, the arson that rang through the building, was designed to ruin the structure of the building as well as dissipate all of their wards, unleash all of the spiritual protectors they had in place, all of the mystical protectors they had from other kindred were gone. If not for the efforts of Regent Rose, the building itself would have fallen, and that would have attracted far too much attention for the Tremere to ever set up here again. Luckily, Regent Rose nearly died maintaining and protecting the lives in the building so that there was not a catastrophic, dramatic loss in life, turning everyone's attention to this area. It cost him dearly. But here we are nearly a year later, and you all still have the space. It's been mostly cleaned, remediated, but the scars are apparent.
Start a dive while I'm waiting just to kill some time into this building or whichever building our actual chantry is going to be, like the actual chantry, and seeing what we need to probably start working on, get it corrected, get it erected and ready to go.
All right, so tactically, is there something that he's more specifically, what is he attempting to do?
Well, right now he's trying to get a layout because the building itself, he doesn't have enough information on the building itself, the one that we're planning on establishing as the Chantry House. So he's trying to get as much information on it, like, is it going to be crossing any ley lines? Is there any pools where possible werewolves can jump out at? The type of information that he doesn't know because he wasn't really too deeply invested in the building before it all failed. So he's trying to catch himself up on it.
Okay. Well, we need several rolls. First things first. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and hit your slash awaken function in the dice channel? Once you get that done, the next step would be for you to use your wits plus either larcening or occult, and then following that up with the opposite, larceny or occult. And each roll, of course, accounting for roughly 15 minutes to a half an hour early that you might have been.
That for Tamata to roll, or the wits and occult, or for everyone?
Now that was for Tamada while he's waiting for you all to arrive. His office, his normal office as a professor, isn't that far from the building, from the Chantry building itself. Immediately following Tamada would be Anand and Jacob arriving roughly around the same time, with Marie trying to wait and loiter outside as Tamada is upstairs doing what it is that Tamada is attempting to do. As you all enter in,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I just missed the rolls, so I honestly missed the rolls. But go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
no worries. First things first, now that you got your awaken out of the way, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll either your wits plus larceny or occult? You're going to be rolling both, but whichever you choose to roll first determines which viewpoint you're approaching your investigations and inspection of the space with. And while that's being rolled and being pursued in the 15 to 20 minutes that Tamada is upstairs in the building, Marie, as you were attempting to be early, with the clinic being equally close to where the Tremere Chantry House was and is, waiting while Tamara is scrounging and rummaging and investigating upstairs, watching as Anand and Jacob arrive approximately at the same time, is there anything that you three would be discussing as you all head in?
I would like to share the with Anand the second I would see her. I believe it would be somewhere near the entrance. I would like to share with her what I have found out about the blood, unless I haven't told her in those few days. And I would really like to share the fact that it's based on a kindred vitae, and that will most likely mean that there is somewhere a place where a kindred's being held. which is one of the possibilities, because how else would you get a kindred's blood? And this one is not some weak blood. It's something powerful. So this is interesting and needs some more time to be investigated.
I get what you're saying, and I understand that to have something that powerful be held captive, but you know where that is from, right? It's from Milwaukee. So that means that that being is being kept in Milwaukee. And to investigate, we would have to go to Milwaukee. And we have our own problems here in Gary right now. But we will put a pin in that and come back to it because we do need to look into it.
Absolutely. I'm just providing you the information that I have found, but following your lead.
Oh, no, I understand. Definitely thank you for bringing that to my attention. There is also the fact that we had talked about the ash situation that is starting back up that we need to nip in the bud. Actually, I would prefer that we wait till we get inside for me to tell y'all about the rest of this, but there are some things that I found out this week that I would like to share with everybody to put everybody on the same page. So we might as well head inside and then we can talk about all that. If that's okay with y'all.
Yeah, absolutely okay with me.
So I'm taking it that inside we go. So I will say, walking back into the chantry house as she does, Anon kind of shivers because it's like that feeling of somebody walking over their grave. The last time she was here, it was fire and terror.
So, the first thing that, of course, comes to you all as you all make your way inside. There aren't any of the electronic locks that are on the dorms, the clinics, or other portions of the professional building. This area, while rehabbed and remediated, was left to, well, the foundation that is the shell company for the chantry, and nothing has been done. There aren't any real locks. You can lock the doors from once you're inside, but if you're not inside, none of you all have the key. Luckily, the doors aren't locked. But even as it's in a back upper floor, several floors connected with lecture halls and offices and other rooms removed from windows and sunlight, it is unfortunately unsecured. And you all walk in to hear Mata moving and rummaging and looking and seeking. And, well, Tamata, what are you in fact doing?
When Tamara hears the door open, he stops, looks down, because he's on on the second floor. Looks down. He said it's the rest of the coterie. Make sure no one else comes in after him. Yeah, I'll be down in a second. And he starts to move down to the first level where he meets everybody.
There's a surprising amount of space interconnected and interlocked that is held in reserve for the shell company that the Chantry uses to operate this space. They provide grants and money and funding towards the university, and without that company, without that actual hand, without the apprentices and acolytes, without the machinery of a chantry, it's been left remediated, cleaned, but has been left. It's unused, untouched space. It's larger and emptier than Anon has ever seen it, than Jacob has ever seen it. It is a tomb. The spirits of the past, though not actually present, feel heavy. Those who were like Anand here during the last days of the chantry remember the screaming, the yelling, the cries for help, the strangely brave, foolishly so almost, efforts of the regent and the Secundus and a few of the acolytes who threw themselves at the fire, attempting to put it out. Those who stood their ground facing nearly a story tall version of a fire elemental as the fire tore through the space, eating boards and furniture and scarring people, leaving lasting damage. There was the feel of the ward slamming down, leaving the place unprotected from the various spirits that once were held in service to the chantry. There were the kindred giving themselves over to their beasts, attempting to chew through themselves and the world around them to escape the fire, the pain, and the devastation. Then there was the aftermath. The regent lying fallow, torpid, dead to the world. The fire trucks, the campus security, the police rushing in and out. You can still hear the screams, you can still hear the pain in the voices of those who gathered. But you guys are here now, so what's going on as you all meet in the central lecture hall of the space?
Mom just kind of holds herself, like wraps her arms around herself. And this place feels so fucking wrong right now. Shit. We gotta fix this. We gotta fix that first. I can't keep coming in here and feeling it like this.
Maybe you can get some of your friends to come and sweep the area because ain't nothing here but ghosts. The wards are gone. The protections are gone. Hell, the locks are even gone on the doors. It's empty as if it was brand new. I don't know what you guys have been doing, but I got a couple of things that I kind of want to throw out there at you guys just to see what you guys think about them.
But it seems like that's going to be
Um,
a discussion sort of night. So why don't we all take a seat? Because Jacob has things they want to say. And I'm sure Marie probably has things they want to say. I found out some things. You found out some things. So we should all discuss.
okay, I'm good with that.
You're absolutely fine.
So I guess we all pull up chairs and she kind of looks around. Okay, so the best way to do this is probably things that are most pressing, meaning we have to act on them fairly quickly. We'll go over those first, and then things that may be still important but less emergency as it was, and then things that are interesting but of no fair immediate importance. Does that work?
Yeah, sure, but how are you going to categorize them? Like, how do we know what's most important?
Well, I think we have an easier way since Anand is here, more of a leader, so she starts, and then as a more senior, Tamata goes second, and then we just decide if someone has anything of value to share between me, Marie, and we see where it goes from there. What do you think about that?
Either that or we roll dice.
Why are you making things complicated, Tomato? I like his idea, even though it means I have to go first.
I was just
A
making a
burden of being a
suggestion, you
leader.
know. So,
Okay.
what do you got?
Unfortunately, when I first got here a while ago, I missed a whole week of my mental time. I couldn't figure out what had happened to me between leaving Chicago and arriving here and waking up where I woke up. I have been spending these past couple of days figuring that out, and I have found out several things. There are people in the town that are doing nefarious things and creating distractions that should not be here because they belong in Chicago. I was I and several others like us were dosed with some sort of concoction that isn't ash, because if it was ash I would still remember what it was that had gone on. But it was strong enough to affect me and other kindred and make me lose a whole week of my life and not remember what had been done during that week. So somebody is putting out some sort of potion or something and then dosing those like us with it randomly. To what means, I don't know. I also found a key to a motel in my pocket and found out one of my items was missing, and I would like to get it back, but that's neither here nor there, and I will look into that myself mostly. Um, but yes, they are taking items and leaving other ones, or maybe it's just the fact that I forgot where I was until then that left me leave where my item behind. Sorry, I'm getting all turned around. Um, the other thing is I have been working on putting the blame for our missing regents onto Zimri as a way of breaking her connection with the prince. So if we could further that, that would be good. Um, we can come back to that. That's not as important, but it is important since we are working to gain uh, Rita's trust and get her backing to get the Chantry up and running again. We also need to work on trying to find acolytes and people to work here at the Chantry during the day and get it back up and running so that there are warm bodies here and it's not so empty. So that is a thing we should work on. If you see people that you feel maybe would be of some benefit to the Chantry, even if they are human, maybe we could talk to them a bit and see where their head is and lure them into joining. But again, that's not as pressing as the other things, I'm sure. Um, I think that's everything for me at the moment. Sorry, I'm having a blank. If I have to add more, I'll come back to it. So to cut Tamala, please, it's your turn.
All right, all right, all right. So first up, I thought I should look into the ash thing, but I got nowhere else up attention. So there's that. I came to the attention of probably some underworld types, so we probably have to deal with that later. Secondly, I did go into. I was just kind of curious as to like the interplay between Rita and the rest of them, and I don't know if you guys know, but the lady that runs the tattoo parlor. Well, I don't know where to begin though. Doggone it. I don't know where to begin. Let me think about it for a second. Um, hmm. Um. Okay. I think I got it. All right. So, as I could think about it, um, hmm. Oh, let me organize my thoughts. Uh, I'll come back to me. Let me organize my thoughts because I'm kind of scattered because I got a lot of information to kind of throw out all in a very small amount of time.
You do realize for you to be a college professor and have to speak in front of students, you are doing terrible at this.
When I organize my thoughts and with college professors and students, all of that stuff I say it 4 or 5 times for each class, so it's a lot easier. Come back to me. Let me organize my thoughts. I'll be ready in a second.
She gives him a slight sigh because he's being a diva. Okay, well then, Jacob, I guess please feel free to tell us about all the things you have learned and come up with this few past days so that we can come back to him.
Yes, so we mostly found out about the liquid that we drank, and you drank, and about that it's based on kindred vitae, as I told you when we arrived. There's also one thing that is very important for us to know: it hasn't lost its ability to bloodbound. So we may want to watch out for it and not drink it, actually. And if it has not lost the ability to bloodbound, it would mean that some of the vampires around us some of the kindred around us, can be already bloodbound by it, depending how much and how often they drink it. That's pretty much everything that I found out of interest to us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that seems like
All
a
right.
problem.
That helps. That does help. All right. That's where I'll start. So the lady that's at the tattoo parlor, Zimbri, she's from Indianapolis, and she has a lot of connections to a lot of religious leaders across all of Indianapolis. That's something that I thought that bears some interest in looking into because religious people and kindred, that gives me real strong vibes of a Hakata kind. Then, second thing I looked into was Rita and Sophia. I think I'm getting real vibe from her as trying to. She is willing to throw you the leadership, but she is almost never around, even though we got to go through her to go to a higher circle. And yet, Sophia and Rita, they have a weird interplay going through, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. And I'm not sure how much we should trust Rita because doing without Rita, we can't do much. But at the same time, I got a feeling that her own agenda is gonna end up with us being under four wheels of a bus. I mean, on the surface, we're all friends, but between Rita and Sophia, there's something going on. I don't know. I don't know if you picked that up or not either, or not.
I feel like it's called not rocking the motherfucking boat. That's what it feels like to me. Granted, it was a little suspicious that she called ahead when she told us she wasn't directly involved, but I figured she was trying to be helpful. And I will take it as that until I'm proven otherwise.
It's kind of what the kids say. What's the word that they use? Sus. Yeah, yeah. It seemed a little sus to me. Their interplay kind of bugged me a bit. And I'm sure it's probably just my hackles being raised about how she had us do this, but something seems really sus about her. Oh, by the way, we probably need to put some doors on this place some locks, because basically a bum on the street can walk in here and have about as much trouble as we do getting in and out of here.
Speaking of getting in and out, Maria is sitting there looking askance in the corners, absently tapping her thigh, quiet as quiet can be. Yet there's clearly, for anyone with the wits of two or higher, something amiss.
What's going on with you over there, Miss Marie?
Any of your things sad about? I tried to look for her the last few days to ask her some more kindred stuff, but I couldn't find her anywhere. We all got the call to be here, right? So surely she should as well.
I mean, I agree, but I ain't nobody's mama, so I ain't keeping track of nobody. I'm sure she'll get here when she's ready to. But yeah, that's a little weird that she went missing for a couple days. Uh, do you have any hints as to where possibly she could have gotten to?
Nah, I couldn't find her anywhere. Also, there are a lot of cops around campus, like way more than there should be.
Because there was an arson attempt recently, and then the fact that the whole thing with the chantry almost burning to the ground, while we kept it as quiet as we could, humans were still involved with putting the chantry out and rescuing those that were here the night that all happened. So it doesn't. I'm sure you're right that it seems strange that there's still so many hanging around, but there is also the fact that it's probably warranted with the amount of things that have happened on campus.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's been a year. Shouldn't the investigation have been cleared by now? Gary Police is notorious for being on the take, being on less than the up and up. And yet, even for them, a year into an arson investigation where there was no loss of life seems curious, to say the least. Does anyone have premonitions or sense the unseen, present and active?
Yeah, I do. I have the sense the unseen. And actually, I would like to add that the second Mary mentions Sarah, that I do have a kind of phantasmal image of a motel and the sound of the klaxons. And I hear it, but it's like very brief. So there's, something that worries me about it. We may look into it. And also, since Anand, you mentioned you found a motel key, maybe this is something that we should do firsthand and not postpone it.
Okay. Well, I am willing to go take a look at this hotel key situation and see what we find there. Um, but I would also, before we leave, try to come up with a plan for how we lock this place up while we're not here, and a way to get back in once we have locked it. I.e., maybe we should call maintenance or a locksmith of some sort and get that solved, at least the front door, for now.
And that seems like a good idea to call maintenance, since I have no idea how to put a lock on the door. But I think I might have an idea as to how we can find out why the cops are still around if you think it's important enough to look into.
I mean, that is important. We should probably find that out so that we don't step on any invisible bear traps accidentally, mind you. But yes, I will call the locksmith, I guess, because I am acting building owner for now. And um, we need to get this shell corporation up and running again so that its presence on campus is felt, using that to get the locksmith out here and fix the locks. And then we can go to the hotel while you check in with your person about why the cops are still buzzing around. And then see if we can maybe
Okay.
find Sarah.
Okay. So, in order of operations, Anand is attempting to reach out via the landline, which is operational, or via her cell phone to try to coordinate this business of getting a locksmith and
Landline.
such. Okay. That being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma plus either leadership or charisma plus contacts? And while the information, the police activity isn't specifically in Joanne's sphere of influence, would you be so kind to Manda as to go ahead and roll your manipulation plus contacts? Your DC unfortunately is 4. It is outside of her wheelhouse, but roll high and roll well.
Okay.
While everyone is busy with those tasks, I would just like to take a quick look around our former and now our again new chantry, and maybe I can find some pieces of research, maybe my own, maybe someone else's, just some pieces of books or something, whatever.
Okay. That being the case, Jacob, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus occult? It is a lot of a lot happening all at once. There is not frenetic activity in your coterie mates, Marie, but everyone's moving from the center of where you all are sitting here in the lecture hall. Anon moving forward down to where the professor would normally be giving the lecture to pick up the landline there that's along the wall. Jacob moving further afield up into the lecture hall, formerly through the second story where Tomato was when you first entered. Tomato steps off to the side, picking up a cell phone and making a call, and just body language alone, you can tell that the call is not going well. What is it that you are doing while everyone else is searching, seeking, reaching out to the outside world?
Marie, well, she'll sort of stand there for a bit longer before sort of not so much launching herself, but rocking herself forward, and she's going to go towards the main door of the place and just sort of hang by there a bit. Just make sure, keep an eye and make sure nobody's coming in, if that makes sense. Going out. Yeah.
So she moves towards keeping a sentry and keeping a watch on the space. Would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your wits plus either streetwise or larceny? And while that roll is happening, Anon, there's no way that this should be that easy. Relatively, of course. It is still an additional charge. It will be invoiced and it will be highly exorbitant. Just listening to the price quoted, and of course, a quote means it can go up. It very rarely goes down, but that is the hope. Leaves you with a sick feeling in your stomach. You actually don't have the checkbook. You actually don't have access to the account. None of that was in the last few days, last 10 days worth of activity on your part, gaining that access, getting those account and routing numbers. It is a bill that, well, falls on your head. You're the voice, you're the face. But they do agree to come out and invoice it. Tomato, you're not sure why it stopped being all simple. A cop is a cop is a cop is a cop. And listening to her prattle on, listening to her give you excuse after excuse, listening to her explain the real difference between her unit, the one that is investigating you, who has an open book on the expenditures of the faculty of the university, and what's happening on campus. Something about a special division under the chief of D's, police commissioner, chief of detectives, Stevens. Something about it being untouchable, like they have their own black book they are operating off of. They have been approved for overtime, and as outside of fraud division, they don't reach out for help. They don't rely on other police officers. They are, and she's telling you and prattling on and on and on and painting it so that it is an impossibility that what's happening is not connected with the federal government, with the county, with the state. Yeah, she says it's just Gary Police doing this, a special division in Gary Police. That makes no sense whatsoever. The anger rises in you. And while you're normally as cool and collected as you can be, because you do your best to make sure that there's a safe emotional distance, you don't take anything too seriously, the picture that she is painting puts you at the center of a bullseye of an organization of police that are as either well-funded or well-connected as the fucking Secret Service. The profanities bubble up and explode out of you. You know that ability to hear when someone's smiling on the other end of the phone, when you can hear the frown? You are very sure that as you're giving her the riot act and dressing her down, that she can hear the beast in your voice. There is no semblance of calm to you because she literally just painted a picture where you all are hunted persons by simply existing. A black bag police organization operating without any check and balance with the other divisions of that same police department. It doesn't make fucking sense. And Jacob, as you can offhandedly hear Tamada having a row with whoever's on the other end of his phone call. As you can see from the second floor looking down, you see Anon, her face kind of droops as if she's presented with the worst news whatsoever. She has the winning lottery ticket, but no way to claim the prize. There is a thumb drive swept, lost to the side, lightly dust covered from before they did the remediation for all of the fire damage. Nothing that should be of any relevance whatsoever. But it shouldn't be here either. There aren't any computers. There never were any computers in this area of the building, except for what was snuck in illegally. Regent Rose was not quite old school enough to not allow any electronics, but he was security conscious enough that anything with a microphone, a camera, or a connection to the internet was not allowed inside the building.
I will definitely take it with me. Look at how damaged it is, and if it can be plugged in again, and share my discovery with Anand. And does anyone have a computer? Maybe Mary at her clinic.
Most assuredly. And where is Mary? She's not. Oh, she stepped outside. Maybe she left. Maybe she went to go to the budget motel. It is a 37-minute walk or a 3.5-minute drive right down Broadway.
Well, first I would like them to come to Anand and show Anand the drive that I found. I would like them to look for Mary and ask her if we can plug it in her computer. Later, obviously, I would like to go to the motel first when we had the chance.
Why is the campus so busy tonight? It's a Thursday. Everyone should be at the bars. Everyone should be at Devil's Den or Salacious or Smoky Joe's or any number of places. But there is a hive of activity on the campus tonight.
Marie can't get her head around it, and it's just been. She's been trying to figure out what's up with this crowd. Just stood outside the broken door, just staring at it intently, but can't get her head around it. Can't figure out why there's so many people here.
So as you gather for your walk or drive, well, how are you guys going to get north along Broadway to the hotel?
Can you also tell me one more thing? Is Alicent somewhere on the way to the hotel, geographically wise? Because I would like to see her in person and ask about the cop activity if I have a chance. But if it's on the way to the hotel, if it's not, then I would like to do it after we go to the motel.
Like a plan, you will be doing it after the motel?
So the plan is, sorry to interrupt you. The plan is if I'm just like not very aware where she's located. So if she's somewhere in between where we are at the moment and the motel, then I would like to make a small detour to visit her first. But if it's like I have to go to the opposite direction for another 30 minutes just to see her and then come back to the motel, I will not do it. I will just go straight to the motel, and after the motel, I will try to meet up with her.
Okay. It is definitively something that you would be doing after. You know that right now, this Thursday, uh, Philip is, well, leading a service at the Scrolls of Love, which is just off of 42nd, and the closest main intersection will be 42nd in Georgia, which is southeast of the college. The motel, the budget motel to be exact, is north, directly along Broadway, off of Bingham and 23rd. It's 40 minutes, give or take, walking. Again, far shorter driving. And especially if you all don't hit any of the lights as you cross the expressway there at the Cloverleaf. But otherwise, it is almost perfectly the opposite direction from where you all are attempting to get to at the hotel, at the motel.
Thank you, noted. Then for me, it's straight to the motel. Well, again, the hard drive. I would like to ask you, Mary, if we can plug the hard drive in your computer later on. But again, the motel is the priority.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll
Super.
take you there myself once we're done.
Super, thank you.
The hard drive, does it look familiar?
Familiar enough, and is not one of yours. But, and about a year and a half ago, 2 years, you, Adlai, Gid, and several others from the Chantry and associates that grew up in GI caught a deal at Egghead. It was your dirty little secret. You all had the opportunity of getting terabytes upon terabytes of storage and use when logistically and realistically you didn't have anywhere to put it. You didn't have anything to use it for specifically. But it was the idea of having your dirty little secret. It's like the parent that allows you to have a party with your friends in the basement as long as they're home. But you let your friends, that special friend or group, sleep in your room without your parents notice. You don't bother to ask, you don't bother to tell them. Everybody else from the party leaves, so your parents think that everybody from your little get-together in the basement have gone, but you've secretly snuck one or two friends into your bedroom. And as long as they keep quiet, your parents won't ever find out. That's what buying those drives were like. You were given a mile, and you took an extra one.
So it's probably empty, but at the same time, it's familiar. Okay.
Are you guys
Even
walking?
though
Are you all
I
driving?
know Tagada is in a bad mood, we're taking his car, and that's all there is to it.
Once he finishes his phone call, takes a couple of seconds to kind of recenter himself, quiet the beast. Then he looks at the group and just kind of tells them, all right, so not much help, but it's a kind, so it's kind of what you expect. But the group of police here are a task force Black bag has their they write their own check, and they're here. The tidbit might be important, might not be, but they're basically able to write their own check, and they're here. So we may have to just grab one real quick and convince them to tell us why they're here, and then get them to forget that we grabbed them. But that's long term.
So you literally just said there's a black bag FBI-esque police unit here on campus, and you want us to kidnap one of the motherfuckers and then make him forget. Is that what you just said?
I will not admit to anything in open court. But we need to make sure that they're not here looking for anything important, i.e., us. Not saying that they are, not saying that they're not, but I tend to get really nervous when something of this magnitude is kind of hanging over our heads.
I have a way to possibly find more about this, but I need to meet with one person and personally, in person. Jesus, talking is hard. It's much easier to study blood. But again, this is something that I would like to do after we visit the motel, and I hope that this person can share some information in regards to what the police are doing here about this task force.
I'm good with
Okay,
it.
that's nice.
Let us know if you find anything.
Yeah, as I said, that's the next thing I would like to do, but again, after we go to the motel first, because I kind of worry about Sarah. So
To the car.
I didn't know you bought a new car, None.
It's your car. It's your car that we're getting in.
Didn't know I sold it. Must have been drinking or smoking ash or something. But to the car, I guess.
There is something dirty about the budget motel. You can't get in off of Broadway. In fact, if you approach the building from the Broadway side, there's one door in. There's literally one door in, one green security door with a pass key window cut exactly at the perfect height to see someone's face to get inside the building. Otherwise, it is a bricked in storefront. It is such an old motel that there aren't any central vents for the air conditioning or the heat. There are actual iron radiators inside each of the rooms and fans in the windows of the long stay rooms to provide cooling during the summer heat. There are baffles over the window to keep the sun from shining in, but otherwise, it is the place where you would normally go if you didn't care about dying or being used until there was nothing left. There are actual murder holes, the same sort of windows that archers and castles would use to attack incoming infantry. as their only source of light on the first floor. All of the other windows on the first floor are solid glass blocks, the sort that lets you know that it's daytime or nighttime, but otherwise offer no visibility. There's one clearly poorly designed camera hanging at mid height on the second floor, staring out over the parking lot. The parking lot itself is walled in as if they're expecting a siege. There's a 5.5, almost 6 foot tall brick wall trailing along the entirety of the property line on Broadway. It's such a damaged, well used thing that there are portions of it that you can tell were repaired by someone who had no understanding of what masonry was supposed to do. So they just stacked cinder blocks and as much mortar as they could get their hands on. The northern walling around the parking lot was at one point brick, but it had been damaged, driven through, attacked, set on fire, and otherwise misused so often they repaired it and replaced it with a wooden security fence put up the wrong way, with the bracing boards on the outside making it easy for someone to climb over. The parking lot is the only thing that has been well maintained and repaired, partially due to the city ordinance that, well, would cost them tickets if the city inspector wasn't paid off and purchased. The dumpster, which is the only source of garbage remediation for the hotel, is always filled and chained because there are too many things and too many people that have been found inside of that dumpster. The roof of the building is the actual bar. It's the actual secret speakeasy of the budget motel. You have to head up a fire escape from the second store, climbing up rickety, iron wrought, rusted in danger. You feel like Indiana Jones every time you all have had the opportunity of partying at the budget. But that bar has seen aldermen, councilmen, mayors party there. Because literally, if this is the place where you go to either drink, drug, or otherwise fornicate yourself into non-existence. Rooms. Well, you pay extra for a window, whether you use it or not. So as you all arrive, and fleeting memories of parties and relatively free donors flit through each of your minds, or God forbid, if you all had the opportunity of visiting here while alive, the need for a tetanus shot afterwards.
Mata has a look of disdain on his face, like, eesh. This place brings back memories, and not necessarily good ones.
Catching sight of his obvious disgust and disdain, Anan gives him a look, and it's very much a "don't make me air you out" look.
This place, it seems like it hasn't changed much since the old
Right?
days. I can say that.
It was last remodeled very, very recently, 1986. A fresh coat of paint applied to all the walls in the odd numbered rooms. The carpet was fumigated, and the bedding was bleached. It should be due for another upgrade and remodel for the even numbered rooms sometime in the next decade.
Oh, Adnan, you come here often?
Not particularly, but apparently I did during my week that I lost. So I will look for the room number that matches the passkey that I have.
Is it an even number room? Because you can lose anything in those.
Does anyone have premonition or sense the unseen?
Yeah, I have the sense the unseen.
Does anyone have heightened senses?
I have it, but not active.
Okay. So, Jacob, are you utilizing your sense the unseen?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Knowledge is a dangerous thing. And while everyone believes that knowledge is power, it is not quite that simple. The application of knowledge is power. As you enter the premises, as you all blend in with the riff and the raff, because no one really cares. The security here is predominantly because everyone knows to keep their own mouth and their own peace. It's the place where you go to disappear or be disappeared. Peering into those shadows, peering into that darkness. Jacob, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits and aspects, please?
On it.
Marie, as a member of the more bestial kindred, member of the gang group, do you have any animalism?
I do. I have 2 in animalism.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure plus animalism for me, please?
Okay.
Are you just waiting on your roll?
Yeah, I tried. The dice bot didn't work.
Okay.
Um.
Okay. Discord is going to be Discord for right now. So, what's the total number of dice you have for that pool? We'll just take the half of it.
It's 6.
Okay. So 3 is the half. You are able to withstand the natural and unnatural fear that begins settling over your body. There's a point where you are so afraid in the animal kingdom that you become a threat to yourself and to everything around you. That's what possesses you as you all move into the hotel. You can smell the death that clings to the carpet and to the burnt orange paint along the walls. The dim bulbs hidden behind their sconces seem to radiate with the fires of hell. You smell the absence of continued existence, mingling with the sweat and other emissions of the living. The bulbs are dim because of the sconces, and the sconces dim the bulb because of all of the built-in smoke. The various Marlboros, Cools, Salem, cigar smoke, pipe smoke that have filtered through this air, settling in all of that glass. Hand-blown glass, no less. Clouded and occluded with all the filled smoke of someone else's lungs. The carpet doesn't squelch beneath the feet, but only because the emissions that have seeped into the air and settled along the carpet have done so in such profligation as to make the carpet stiff and sturdy. If you were to put your finger on it, you would say that it's the dirt, the cast off dead skin cells and various other fluids that actually make up the entirety of the carpet. You're sure that if someone took a shampoo to the carpet, there wouldn't be any carpet left behind. And it sets all of the alarm bells in your head to ringing as if it was an air raid horn. The flop sweat that would normally appear at the base of your spine and along your brow don't, solely because you are in fact dead. Even though you can feel the tendrils of the biosphere around you. And for all of the excesses that have taken place here, the greatest of excesses, the greatest of leftover energy, is that of the end of things. Yet you brave it. Yet you push through it. The same can't be said for Jacob. Death doesn't really mean anything. You understand that death is just a portion of the eternal line segment that everything exists on. It doesn't cause that tremulation. It doesn't cause those tremors. It doesn't cause that fear because you have been disconnected from the living world long enough that you don't really see a difference between the living and the dead. It's the data that matters. It is the information that you can utilize to find the secrets of the entirety of the world. This side of the veil and the other. As you enter in, the ghosts of parties past filter past you. You can feel the coolness of those essences, those spirits, those auras moving past you. And it's very, very hard to restrain the urge to find out or miss out. And as Anand and Tamara are talking and moving, looking at the key to find the room number that she has, you stop in front of 206, which is actually on the first floor. Part of their marketing strategy from years past was in mislabeling the floor so that they could say that they offered 3 stories of fun. But unlike every other building, they start at 2 instead of starting at 1. And you find yourself standing in front of 206, this inkling, this burning, this magnetic pull towards 206, which is a full half floor from where Tamara and Anand are heading. But there is something absolutely inciting about 206. Something pulling you towards it. Something demanding your attention at 206.
Do I have
None?
enough?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue.
No, you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if I have enough concentration to call out Anand and Tamata to, not go in there alone, because I'm obviously will go into this door or try to go into this door, but I would like to do it. If I'm controlling myself enough, I would like to do it together with them. So if I can call out to them, like, hey,
As you feel this compulsion, as you feel this draw, what is it that you say to them?
Yeah, it's just like we really need to get into this door, through this door. And right now.
Anon kind of frowns, but if you say so, I guess we can get back to the rest of this shit later. But if you feel like you absolutely have to go in there, do we have a way to pick the lock or?
Or try if the door is opened. Also, like, to see where we're standing, what's going on.
Marta puts his ear to the door to hear if anybody's on the other side. Might be something to check out before we do anything.
Reaching the door, Jacob rests his hands against the knob. Tomato leans in and tries to listen to the other side of the door. The good thing about the anonymity of the budget motel, no one cares when you're here because, well, only certain types go there. At least that's what everyone tells everyone else. But everyone has partied at the budget. Everyone has had the opportunity of driving towards excess at the budget. In fact, it's a rite of passage that you get blackout drunk on Boone's Farm and Mad Dog 2020 at the budget. They should sell t-shirts. I survived the budget. But they don't. The door is 2 inches of actual wood. It's one of the few things that have not been skimped on, left lying fallow. Part of the budget is what goes on in the rooms at the budget is no one's business. The door is solid, but there isn't any sound coming from the other side of it. The door is locked, but realistically, this hour of the evening, early enough in the evening where most of the bars, most of the clubs, most of the parties happening in someone's basement, on someone's back porch, on someone's car should still be in full activity. The budget is late night, after hours, rocking till the sun come up. Excess. Shouldn't really be many people here right now. And yes, unfortunately, the door is still locked.
Is anyone good with picking locks or strong enough to break down this door?
Can Marie try to kick down the door?
Yeah, of course she can make it happen. That would be your strength and strength. Or strength and larceny if you want to be fairly skillful about it.
Nope, doesn't have any of that. So is it strength times 2 or just?
Yep.
Okay.
Again, it's one of the few things that are not skimped on at the budget. You put your foot into the door and ricochet off as if you were a pool ball hit by the cue. Strong. You manage to keep your balance, but just barely as you rest against the wall opposite the door.
Well, it's not going in that way.
So again, does anyone know how to pick a lock?
I don't have any dots in larceny, but I would assume that Anon growing up in this area probably has had to pick a lock every once in a while. So we're going to try it.
What are you using?
Is it like a regular key lock or is it like one of, well, because we have the cards, but she'll pull out like just like a regular like plastic card, like credit card, but something that isn't hers. She's not gonna destroy a credit card over this, but she just had like random ass plastic card in her wallet and try to slide it in the door to pop the deadbolt.
All right. How's she going about it? What, besides her larceny and her dexterity, she manually tries to manipulate the lock. Is there anything else that she's attempting to do?
Ada keeps an eye out to see if anyone opens the door, like one of the other doors, or might start happen to have an ability to possibly see us while we're doing this somewhat illegal action.
Somewhat.
I
It's
know
all in
this
the
is a
phrasing.
I know this is a weird logic leap, but I'm going to take it. She has a specialty in up close magic. Would that help?
In this particular situation, no, it would not.
Okay. I also have 2 dots in technology or 1 in investigation.
Storyteller, would Scour Secrets kind of maybe give us a hand in this one?
I don't know. What does it do?
Good question. I just thought I'd ask. Let me go grab my book.
Tapping into the strength of the beast, its wiliness, its willfulness, its determined focus on succeeding at any and all costs. Anon crouches there at the lock, wiggling in the motel key room card from her possession, slipping past the lock, triggering the catch lock inside and causing the door to swing open with a flourish. Those of you with an understanding of the supernatural world, an occult of 3 or higher, or blood sorcery at its base, feel the power in this room as if you are walking into a church, freshly hallowed. The old school churches that inhabited the fullness of their facet of God or gods, a temple to the other. The walls are vibrating with a bass that you all can't hear and can't feel, but you know that it's there. This room, unlike your nightmares and memories of parties past, is immaculately clean. The lights are still dim, and they're on. There is the immediate feeling that you are entering into hallowed ground.
So on the surface, looks like a normal room, just feels different.
Yes. For Jacob.
Yeah, is there something that I can sense, like like magic traps or some hidden objects that I can see with the seen the unseen or something?
There are wards all over this room, etched into the windows, the walls, the
Uh,
desk. The carpet itself is one huge protection circle, and
is
the scent of Vitaeus unavoidable.
is some do I know them? Because I would not like us to trigger anything that will harm us.
That's the
So
funny
they
thing. You have a fairly well grasped understanding of wards, and yet has how many are layered here, one atop the next, melding one into the next. It is almost impossible to discern a single separate one.
Is there some pattern that I can see that they are connected to something together? Like, like a web, that they are all like small pieces that are connected to something bigger that kind of controls them, or is Bane in charge?
Like non sequiturs, and the way that humans think in color and sound, and everything conflates together within the wrinkles of their mind. That's how the wards are layered here. Separating one from the next, while not impossible, will require more time than a cursory scan.
Okay, so we
What was
open the door. Do y'all still feel like y'all need to get in there, or what? What was it that was drawing you?
something wrong with this room? It's like it's all worded and very different, very very not. I don't understand those words, and I know quite a lot about them. So it's kind of weird that we have something like this here, and whoever set this up is like one meticulous person, and this is something like worries me. I don't know. There's something about this room, something very very wrong. I would like to investigate it a little bit more if I can. If you don't mind, Anand.
Do I have any reason to tell him that he shouldn't?
Do you? You've never been in this room before, as far as you
I
can remember.
haven't. I haven't, as far as I can remember. I mean, I do have a combined pool of 6 between occult and blood sorcery, but
So you
they feel
feel the power in this room. You feel the leftover magic in this room. You understand that you have literally walked into the priest's temple in this room. You also know that you're missing a week. You also know that you have a card from one of the other rooms down the length of the hall and just around what little corner they have in this building.
part of me feels like we should stick together. But now that we've opened this room, I feel like we should come back to it because it's going to take us longer to figure it out than whatever is in the other room that I needed to get to. So we will, I mean, we should definitely not split up though. This place is, with this going on, we should not split up. So y'all need to come with me to the other room real quick and we can leave the door so that we can get back in. But I need to go check the other room first and then we can come back to this one and figure it out.
Seems like a plan. Let's do it.
So I'm going to pull the door
We're
shut
not
just
gonna
enough
split up,
so that it
gang.
doesn't. No, Shut up. We not splitting up. This ain't that sort of horror movie. And pull the door shut just enough so that it can be opened back again when they come back to it. But they're going to, as a group, not leaving anybody behind, go back down to the other room she needed to take a look at.
Some things, once opened, can't be closed. Once done, can't be undone. The unsealing of holy spaces, unentombing those things that have been entombed, breaking phylacteries, they can't be undone once they've been committed to. And as you all leave, the potent spiritual manifestations of whatever was in that room free to move about the hotel, to hunt, to excoriate and fill itself. It is 41 after the hour. Let's come back here at 51 on the dot. All right, folks, how we doing?
All is good.
Good is good.
A positive.
Back, but I had to grab my dinner early because I was starving.
Dinner is a very good thing, but you and Tamara are in a similar boat. No dinner for you.
I guess that's part of the situation with regards to the time zones, etc.
So, we are back. When we stepped away, you all pulled the door closed to that room. That center of power with years of some Tremere warding and carving blood sorcery into the space. Wards, protection circles, and all manner of rituals done over a score of years, so much that they were indiscernible from one to the next. Layers and layers of blood sorcery. And you all gird your loins and move down the hall. The power resonating, unleashed and unlocked from that room behind you. Making your way to the room where of the supernatural, there are certain things that echo with you all. Certain alarm bells ringing. For you all in this moment, the fact that Marie begins walking stiffly, as if she's puppeted by something, as if something or someone has reached across time and space into her being and began to co-opt her muscles. This light vibration and tremors along her arm, growing in intensity and then just stopping. Only furthers those alarms. Marie, you're not sure what it was, but it literally felt as if something was fastening bindings about your person. You know you were walking down the hall, but you couldn't see the hall for a few seconds. You know you were in this hotel, this motel, but you couldn't see the motel for a few seconds. Some part of you, some dark portion of you roared up out of that internal darkness, and like a dog trapped in the corner fought itself and you free of something that was attempting to yoke it, something was attempting to cage it, something was attempting to impugn its freedom and mobility, and it fought as if it knew allowing it was death. You're back in the motel. You're nearly to the room that Anand is guiding you to.
There is something up with this place. I don't like it here.
Let's hurry up and do whatever we gotta do and leave. I don't feel comfortable here anymore. Not that I ever did, but this place is giving me vibes that I'm not sure about.
Okay, I'll make this as quick as possible, but I have to find out what's behind that door so that maybe I can shut off at some part of what's missing for me.
But we're about to find out what's behind the red door.
Have I told you lately how corny you are?
No, not what what you mean. I think I'm hilarious.
Opening the door using the same card that you used to pick the catch lock on room 206. There is a moment when you step into the ocean, when you move far enough out into it, where you realize how small you are in the grand scheme of things. All of that force, all of that power, all of that energy there buffeting you. If you're smart and you're lucky and you time it correctly, you'll go when there is a low tide. The water is moving away from you, at least initially. And if you're smart, not foolishly brave, you'll get out of the water before the tide rushes back in. Most people are smart enough. There's some instinctual part of them that has them back away from all of that rushing water because it happens too quick for you to notice consciously. Your body feels that force. Your body feels the pull of all of those positive ions rushing at you as the unbridled force of nature itself tells you you are nothing. Others aren't so instinctually smart. Others aren't so aware of their body and the biosphere that we small humans are part of. So they get swept out into deep water. They get pulled under all of that rushing power. Moment, you all are in that moment. In the moment, you all are swept out to sea, far enough from the shore that fear begins to crawl over the back of your minds, taking hold of your arms and your legs, causing your heart to beat rapidly, your air to feel constricted. Coolness of the ocean pulling all of your heat away from you. So that even as you're struggling and swimming against the flow as hard as you can, your muscles are overheating. You feel chilled to the bone. Your leg quivering from the cold. Your eyes welling up with tears that won't flow because of all the other water rushing into you, all of your pores, drowning you, even as you manage to keep your head above the water.
Storyteller, has maintenance been in this room? Like, has the bed been
Waiting on
made?
your, I'm waiting on your roll that was there in the live, in the play channel.
I don't see it, bro. Ah, there it is. Found it.
So as you all resist the natural fear, as you all fight off all of the actual accumulated terror that seeks to grip your heart, in the fight, you learn a lesson that Napoleon had to learn the hard way. You can't fight a battle on two fronts at once. The present view of this space, of this room, the overturned chair, broken lamp, the bed that's been unmade, the door to the bathroom sitting wide open. You see what this room was like 2 days ago. The room itself is dimly lit. You're not sure how you know, but you know that this room equally is as warded as the other. And you begin to have a sinking sensation that not just this room, not just room 206, but others are equally as prepared against the malfeasance of the spiritual world. 2 days ago, this room opens itself up as it was, neatly prepared, and the chair sitting at the desk, the lamps dimly lit. Sarah sitting at the desk at the far corner of the room, her eyes darting nervously around it. You know that she feels it, the magic in the room, the presence that's been stalking her. She stands slowly, readying herself.
If Sarah was here, in this room.
You Yes, you watch as the room unfurls itself, rewinding in time to that moment when she was here, standing bravely. Whatever she's working on, notes and journals and 100 other small electronic things on that desk. She stands looking towards.
It's here. It's finally here.
Suddenly, there's a faint sound, a shuffle outside the door. You can feel from across the room where you're standing, watching it unfurl for you. A moment in the past captured and stored in this room. Her pulse quickening, her fingers flickering with an unknown to you, Vitae powered something. You can feel the magic eking out of her fingertips. Whatever she's preparing sure is in fact defensive.
Who's there?
The door swings open as if it was kicked in by a linebacker. A kindred shrouded in shadow standing in the doorway. The air begins to grow thick and heavy with their presence, the world rippling around them. Sarah recoils.
Who are you? Who are you? What do you want?
Forward. Their eyes begin to glow, reflecting some baleful light from hell or one of the other non-realities.
You're the one, aren't you? You're the one that killed the Regent. Took Anon's strides. Why? What do you want?
Understood your role, Sarah. You are always just a piece in a much larger game. Like a trick of the light, in a flash, their honor, their hands, even from where you stand here in the present, looking into the past, are cold enough to freeze the heart of every devil that has ever been dreamed of. Watch as Sarah's face blows and straightens. The lack of air somehow affecting even her dead flesh.
No. No.
And not now, but later than whatever was happening in this room. You feel the world quiet around her and you. The mysterious Kendra still shrouded in shadow. Stepping out of a bungalow on the west side of town, hidden from the rest of the world amidst all of the other emptied, vacant, and dilapidated properties around it. You realize that space, that bungalow, that moment where they're stepping out of, is in fact Sarah's hidden haven. They turn to pull the door closed behind them. You realize that Sarah is laid there, entombed in the emptiness, her moldering dead corpse. Just like the one that Anand found herself resurrecting to in some dark stairwell in the middle of nowhere. You're back in the moment. All of you save Marie. You know what it's like, and you shouldn't. You know what that end felt like. You know what drowning on dry land feels like. And you're still there. You're still with Sarah as the light fades. And Sarah whispers, speaks to you. You're not sure what she's saying. You hear it all the same. You're there with her in the dark.
Don't give up. You know that this is our fight, and you cannot give up the fight, no matter what happens. You're stronger than that. You are better than that. You know what you have to do. And I believe in you. I believe that together we can conquer any challenge. They'll never know what hit them.
Marie freezes for a moment. She tries shaking her head, pinching herself. Starts trying to reaffirm to herself that it's not real, it's not happening.
I suggest we do a quick search of this room. If there's maybe something hidden. Maybe you made some hidden stash, Anant, when you were here. Or something. Or a marking or something that we look through this room. We do the same for the room downstairs. And then we go to the bungalow that we saw. And see if Sarah is like can do something about it. Can change something about it. What do you say?
I think it might be too late for Sarah, but we will go and check. I need you to stay here with Marie. She's stuck. We'll have to figure out how to break her out of the loop in a minute, but I'm gonna run in here real quick and see if I did leave anything behind.
You want me to go ahead and help you search the room out, or just hang out here?
I think you're better served trying to snap Marie out of whatever's got a hold on her.
Okay.
Well, she's clearly being possessed, but it's like we need to figure out how to break it. Is there some knowledge? Our knowledge of occult is enough to help us understand how we can break her out of this?
Do I know how to break her out of it?
And would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus blood sorcery, or intelligence plus occult -1.
Blood sorcery without a minus, if anything. If I roll blood
Yes.
sorcery, not occult.
Correct.
Not for nothing, but we might want to just get her out of this area. That might help. Get her outside, get her some air. That fresh, scary air might help her.
Just in case.
Seems like Jacob is better suited for this one, and I will go to look for Anything I might have left behind in the room.
100% accurate, Jacob. Crossing wards, escaping the boundaries of the ward, crossing into another ward would definitely create static to separate any possessing entity.
No, well, then I would definitely try to do it, to break Marie, but as safely as possible, so to not harm her.
You take her back to 206 if you want.
You weren't in this room.
Let's take her outside.
You know you weren't in this room. When you and your sister were killed by your sire, and he explained that most of the knowledge was always hidden in plain sight, you two developed a cipher because you grew up in the age where the very cool S, the unending snake eating its own tail, was such a cool idea for you all. You created, well, to be perfectly honest, you just modified the tag alphabet of that S to deliver messages to each other. You know you weren't in this room because at the desk, on the desk, it's been turned over, kicked aside, and everything that was there taken. There's a message at play. A message to herself, for herself, and the only other person that might ever understand it. There are 6 letters there, but that's how you all fooled each other. Most cipher worked off of the substitution idea. You all worked off of an additive cipher. The value of the letter, and you all always started with your individual birthday. Not just the date, the difference of time from you to her. 3 minutes, your alphabet, your cipher started with the number 3. 2 of you all. So a 3, 2 equaling an A. And your cipher went through the entirety of the alphabet using that tag cipher as the base. And even though there's 6 letters there, they literally are only 3 in your cipher, in your code. Spells R U heathen. And it is 16 after the hour. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, thank you.
Good
It's been
night.
amazing.
Right.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Good morning for those who have a morning, and we'll see us.
Good night.
It won't stop.